Friends, it's almost the end of 2017, and so it's time for us to start thinking about our training goals for 2018. So I want to show you what I've done in 2017 and then what's coming in 2018, and then encourage you to start thinking now about what your training calendar is. Training for 2018 for your self-defense, let's talk about it. In 2017, I had a really good training year. In fact, I hit a personal best. And so I think that I just want to kind of walk with you through some of my philosophy of how I train and who I train with, so then that way we can think about what might be best for you as a self-defender. Now, I'm not telling you that you got to do what I did, okay? So I'm a firearms instructor and I teach people all over the country. And so I think it's really important for anyone who's a professional in the industry to get a ton of training, to really be a continual student as well. You know, it's just continuing education and stuff like that. Now, for the average student, for somebody who's just interested in defending their family, they're not really a hobbyist, they're not into applied violence as an art, you don't have to necessarily get this much. But just to give you some idea of what I kind of think a professional trainer should be, let's look at my 2017 calendar. I kind of had to put it on a notepad here just so then that way I could kind of see everything that went down. So this year in terms of gun school, now this isn't my empty-handed stuff, this is just gun school. I got 24 hours of instruction at the Surefire Shoot House Bonanza. That was kind of tactical fantasy band camp, but it was tons of fun. I just did 12 hours of close contact handgun with Cecil Birch and immediate action combatives, as well as Glenn Stilson and independence training. That was tons of fun. I also just did 16 hours at the Range Master Instructor Conference in Shawnee, Oklahoma, which was a ton of fun. And then I got 2 instructor certifications this year. The first one was earlier this year. I did 8 hours of Taser Pulse civilian instructor certification, which was great. And then next week, I will be sitting under Mike Seeklander for his instructor development course for 40 hours. So if you add that all up, this year I got exactly 100 hours of gun school, which is awesome. I think that's a pretty awesome year. You also got to think about your empty-handed training. Every week here in Arizona, I am a student at Attitude First Martial Arts Academy under Professor Lawrence Robinson. And I try to get there at least an hour, if not 2 to 3 hours every single week. Doesn't always work that way, but sometimes it does. So I did have my regular weekly training, which I just had a rough year, man. It was a lot of family stuff and all kinds of those kind of things. So I only got about 50 hours total of regular training, but adding to that as well, we had our annual martial arts gathering, which was 20 hours of training, and then we had our Southwest Action Intensive, which added another 10 hours of training. So you add all that up, and I got about 80 hours of empty-handed training this year as a student. So put that all together, and I got about 180 hours under instruction as a student, and I fit that in with a full-time job of running Active Self-Protection as my business and also pastoring my church. So yeah, that was my hobby. I don't get to golf much and I ain't playing on any leagues, but that's what I had for 2017. How about you? What'd you get in 2017? I'd love to hear what classes you took, which ones you liked. If there were any that you're like, man, it was all right, whatever. But make sure that you leave me a comment. Let me know what you trained in this year. I promise you, I'm not trying to shame you. That's not what this is about. This is about encouraging one another to get better, okay? So as you think about 2018, I want you to think about, number one, what classes might you want to take this year? Are you at a beginning level with your firearm skills, an intermediate level, an advanced level? Who do you want to train with this year? Where is it that you need to get some extra training and put some time in to get better? And then start planning for it now. Now, one great way that I want to really encourage you to do that is ask your loved ones, instead of giving you Christmas gifts and ugly sweaters and stuff you're going to throw away, to pay for you to take a training class. Now, you also got to recognize that the training class is more than just the registration fees. Sometimes you got to travel for those, so you got to include gas money or a plane ticket. You got to include a place to stay sometimes. Ammo, certainly, if you're going to take a gun school class. So those costs can add up really quick, but even a one-day class for most people is more than a lot get, and so I just encourage you to put that in your budget or to ask for it as Christmas and birthday gifts. So right now, as we speak, I only have really the first half of the year scheduled. So I'll just tell you kind of month by month what you're going to see from me, just as an example. And again, I'm not telling you that this is what you have to do to be proficient as a self-defender. I'm just kind of organizing my schedule so far this year. Thought you might enjoy to see kind of what I'm doing. In January, we'll be going to SHOT Show. We're always at SHOT Show every year. We have a great time. We go see everything. And so you let me know what you want me to see there. That's a whole nother one. But I'm also, at the end of the month, I'm going to be at Carl Rain's KR training outside Austin, and with Masada Yub and Marty Hayes, taking Deadly Force Instructor Certification. Really excited about that one, learning from some of the best in the industry, and that's 40 hours worth of training that I'll get at the end of January and early February. Right now, I don't have anything in February, and that's a good thing, as you'll see. In March, I have Steve Fisher at the very beginning of the month, Sentinel Concepts. I just nailed that one down today. I'll be taking critical handgun employment with Steve. And man, I think Steve's one of the premier trainers in the nation. I haven't had a chance to train under Steve much yet. He was one of the assistant instructors at the Surefire Shoot House Bonanza back in, I think that was August. And so a great chance to get to know Steve personally. Looking forward to being a student under him there. That's 16 hours. And then also in March, the Rangemaster Tactical Conference is coming. Now, that's a 24-hour event. I'm going to work one day of that, and so I'm going to get 16 hours of training, or at least that's what I'm crediting that for, because I'll be working one of the days. In April, we have our big empty-handed skills event that we put on. We don't put it on, but I'm a student there at Attitude First, called The Gathering. I might be speaking at a national conference in April as well. We'll see. We have a Survive the Fight tour stop in Battle Creek, Michigan. Now that I'm the teacher, not a student, so that doesn't count as student stuff. But boy, I'm going to get some empty-handed skills there, and then I'm going to be busy teaching the rest of the time. In May, we'll be at the NRA annual meetings. I always go to NRA. I really think that's a great time, and I got to teach this year at the Carry Guard Expo, which is really awesome, and hopefully get to do some teaching there too. And then we have another Survive the Fight tour stop in Minnesota. In June, the Rangemaster Instructor Conference is in Atlanta this year. So man, if you can get your Rangemaster Instructor certifications, for anybody who is thinking about doing that, get it before June. Join us at the Rangemaster Instructor Conference. That's going to be 16 hours of training for me as well. Then we have a Survive the Fight tour stop in Wyoming. So if we add all that up, so far this year, now that's just into June. I haven't talked about July. It's just the first half of the year. And that gets me to 88 hours in gun school this coming year already scheduled. Now, I think what I'm going to add in there is Rangemaster Advanced Handgun Instructor. I think it's in October, and I think it's in Dallas. So I'm going to hopefully get to that. If I do get to that, that'll push me over 100 hours in gun school again for 2018. And then my goal is as well to get at least another 100 hours of empty-handed skills, because this is what I do for a living. So I think having an instructor who is invested in continuing education and getting better all the time is really important. So that's me. What about you? Again, I want to think about what are some of the places that you're going to go and train with. It doesn't have to be a national level trainer. Get some good local training. Get a great day of intermediate handgun skills, critical handgun skills employment, something along those lines that can help you with grip, stance, that can help you get good, accurate shots on target quickly. I really think if you committed this year to even taking one full day class, 2 half-day classes in your local area, or 1 full day class, 8 hours, 10 hours of instruction with a qualified instructor, and you then practiced that for the rest of the year, worked on those drills and did your dry fire, you would get significantly better. So I'm not challenging you to 100 hours this year. I think that's a pretty darn high standard. But I am challenging you to 8. So you let me know what classes are available in your area, or if maybe the Survive the Fight tour is coming to your area, I'd love to help you with that. And if you need help finding a great instructor, I've got a link in the description to our instructor directory to help you find somebody in your area so that you can take some class this year. Let's make 2018 a great year of training, everybody.